Start us up.
Okay. Well, it is episode 16, and we said that we was going to dedicate a podcast to trespassing.
Yeah.
And we had an incident.
Multiple.
Dave, multiple, yeah, definitely. But when I first met Dave had started out and was leasing a piece of property. And shortly after I started helping him, we set up a whole zone of area, uh, electric fence and all, and we had a nice plot going. Trespassing started at that point.
Yeah.
Dave, how's it going?
Good. It's hot. It's like 85 degrees right now.
We've got 74 here at the house.
Yeah.
Pretty nice day. It was hot in work.
Yeah.
Inside the building was pretty nasty
Right.
welding today, but
I
yeah, pretty
I looked
decent.
at the 15-day forecast and it's all in the 70s for the next 15 days. Zach was texting me asking he's got a plot a new area that he wants to spray. So
Yeah,
I told him to cut it loose. So
yeah,
he's spraying tomorrow.
for sure. This a nice dry stretch like this would be good for
Mhm.
that, especially. I'm really bone dry here though.
Yeah, it's dry here too, pretty for the most part.
Um, it's I'm not seeing. I went out and did a little scouting on my fields. I don't see any germination yet.
Mhm.
We haven't had any significant moisture though.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting for this weekend. I think Sunday we're supposed to get a good douse of rain, so I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, definitely.
Find some turkey poop though out there
I
where I
saw.
planted some oats.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, I'm sending you pictures of poop. How'd you like them?
Um,
Did you like pictures of poop?
not really.
But it was
Um,
birdie. It was birdie poop.
it was bird poop. Was it gobbler?
I think one of them might have been a gobbler.
Does it
Yeah,
distinct? Does it say it on it? Gobbler poop?
nah, not really.
You're just guessing.
Yeah, I'm just guessing.
You ain't got no gobblers.
I don't know.
Have you seen a gobbler on that side over there?
Yeah, I've seen some. Yeah, yeah. When I was
I
in the
would
tree
think.
stand last year, there were a couple come by.
I would think they'd roost right on the edge of that field so they could fly down to that field.
Yeah, you'd think that, but I don't think they do. I've
There's,
never really.
is there pines along that edge?
Yeah, there's some. There's some.
I know they like them pines roosting
Yeah,
there.
yeah. I scouted around in there this week, and man, that road that goes parallel to the field, whew, is that thing tore up. They're
Gotcha.
really scratching up that road big
hmm
time.
Let's uh let's jump into this.
Let's jump.
So I guess it would be like 6 years ago. I wanted to lease a piece of property because I've always had permission property, and I had a lot of property in Maryland that I just had permission on where I could, just permission spots where I could plant food plots and basically do what I want. But a lot that I've had permission on to hunt for 10 years, but a lot of those landowners they got old, a couple passed away, and they left it to some family, and the family didn't want hunting. Then I lost another spot from goose hunters. Maryland's a
Mm,
big goose hunter state for Eastern Shore, and the goose hunters came in and they started scooping up a lot of the land for top dollar. I mean, some guys were paying like, just say like $1,000 to deer hunt. Well,
mm.
then goose hunter would come in and they would pay like 10 grand.
Oh my.
So a lot of the guys that had deer hunting leases got kind of leased out by goose hunters.
Okay.
So I reached out and I ended up finding this piece in PA, and this is before I ever knew Chris. And I got the property and I started, just basically scouting and everything. And I actually met you that year
Yeah.
in
Just
February.
shortly after that. Yeah.
Yep, right in February at the Great American Outdoor Show. So then, we started talking a little bit, and you had some insight on some lime to get
Mhm.
from a local area by you because out where the farm wasn't much there,
Yeah.
wasn't much around other than a delicious restaurant that we used to go to.
Yeah. The
And
Amish,
yeah,
the
oh yeah, the
Amish,
Amish joint
Amish joint was on the way.
that closed
Yeah.
down though.
Yes, it did.
That's
That wa
unfortunate.
that was, how would you describe that? Like a scratch and dent joint, or
It was like uh it was like a mini grocery mart, but in the back side of it was antiques and stuff. Then
Yeah.
off to that side they had that deli.
Yeah, and they had, like,
What air
I call it scratch and dent. I mean, they
Yeah,
had
kinda. Yeah.
all that discounted food and stuff, man.
Yeah,
We
scratch and dent food.
we'd go in there and load up and take it to the
Oh yeah.
farm.
Well, what area was that considered Punxsutawney?
Yeah, it was just outside of it,
Okay.
you know?
So, um, we got the lime, and I told Chris, I was like, hey, if you kind of help, if you want to get in that making YouTube videos and stuff, you want to help me out on the farm, you can you can hunt here with me or whatever. So we got the lime delivered, and we started doing some management. And the first year we planted food plots, and didn't we had I had one issue with a guy on a side by side.
Mm,
So we ended up posting the property, and it was like every Sunday, I had this guy coming by on trail camera every Sunday,
yeah,
which probably, he was out joyriding or whatever.
yep,
So, no big deal, just kind of, new to the area, new to the property and everything. So we just let it go. And that year, wasn't me and you in the field, and that guy came blazing through on that truck? Remember? And you were recording. Remember he came, the neighbor. Remember he came plowing through the field in his
oh,
truck
yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, we
to the
went
truck.
back up to the vehicles to
Yeah,
go eat lunch or something, and somebody come
plowing through the field.
through the field right at us,
Yep, onto
and
our property.
yeah, and I carry a gun all the time,
Mhm,
and I had a gun, and I told Dave I had my little handy cam with me, and I was like,
mhm,
"This is weird." I said, "I'm gonna press record and see what happens,"
mhm.
and I didn't like show it and
Yeah,
face the person with it, but I had it in my hand and I was holding it down by my side and
mhm,
literally like a body cam,
mhm.
and was recording what this dude was saying. So go ahead, I
Yeah,
interrupted.
yeah, no, it's you were all there, you were part of it. So, he came up and was just like kinda it was kinda weird because the way he plowed into that field at us. But then when he
Yeah,
got out, he had, like, a different tone. It was kinda like, "Hey," kinda like, "Who are you guys?" "I live over there," and all this stuff, and he was basically using that property. You know, is
yeah,
basically what he was telling us, and he still
yeah.
wanted permission to use it.
A lot of people like took squatters' rights to that land
Yes.
because the landowner was from Ohio, I believe.
Ohio, yeah.
Yep.
Yep. So we basically told the guy, obviously we're not going to give names, but we obviously told the guy, I was like, look, dude, like, we're paying to hunt here. It's our place. We just want to be in peace. Like we're
Yeah.
we want to come here, be able to hunt. We don't want no issues.
Don't want no trouble, but if you're paying,
Right.
you don't want someone else in
Right.
there as competition.
Right. We don't want you riding four wheelers or horses, whatever you were doing in there. Like, respectively, please don't come back. He was fine.
And
I
it was peaceful.
Yeah,
It ended peaceful.
yeah, I don't think he ever had an issue after that with him. So then we got into the first year hunting. We did some turkey hunting in the spring. Didn't have much luck. Didn't, and then that led into that's that's where it all kicked off. Is I had a trail camera picture of a guy carrying. He had like a satchel. He had a shotgun, a
Yeah.
bag full of decoys. He wore glasses and a watch. That's what gave it away, and his satchel. And
Mhm.
he was hunting on youth day of turkey season.
Yep.
Sent you the picture. I'm like, whatever, no big
You were
deal.
like, look at this guy.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, we're gonna have this. It'll eventually stop. This and
And
this
at
and this.
first, it didn't like alarm me, but then you was like, "Well, what's he doing?" I'm like, "Well, obviously he's turkey hunting." And you're
Hmm.
like, "Yeah, but it's youth day." I was like, "Oh yeah,
Hmm.
yeah." What the? Then I got triggered. I was like,
Yeah,
"What the
you got
heck? This guy? What's he doing
right.
on youth day?"
So
He
not only
didn't even have a child with him.
yeah, so not only was he trespassing, he was, I guess, poaching. You know,
Illegally hunting.
yeah, illegal hunting. So this property was really spooky. we always had like this uneasy feeling
Always.
there. It was just real like it was real thick canopy. It was like always like real damp and just like
It was
I don't know. It was just weird.
it was uncomfortable. Like you was always having to look over your shoulder.
Yeah, every time I went there, it was always like I was being watched.
Hmm.
And we're going to get to the whole point of this and how to avoid these situations because I mean, obviously, as you know on Facebook, trail camera theft is high. People stealing stuff and all this trust. I see it every single day, hundreds of times. It's all over Facebook. So we found this guy. We went through the spring and summer. That's the year we planted the sunflowers, and we got hate mail from crushing them
Yeah.
and tilling them
Yeah.
back in. Got into the hunting season. We started bow hunting. Had no issues. Never saw a person all bow season. It was great. Saw tons of deer. It was a fun time. TJ wanted to get into hunting. Took him up. Gun season. Or no, was that the year after? No, that was that year. Same year, because we had the Egyptian week going down the center, and then you
Yeah.
came. You
Yeah.
came and shot a doe.
Yeah. Because you guys ended up
Yep.
being in that blind on a
Yes.
day that I wasn't there.
Yes. And I was trying to get TJ a deer, his first deer, and we're sitting there, and I dozed off. And next thing you know, he wakes me up. I'm like, "What's up?" He's like, "Trespasser." And this guy walked 20 yards past the blind.
Hmm.
20 yards, and we're sitting in there, right? He's had a rifle and everything. I like jumped out of the blind out the front window. I told TJ grab his gun, follow me. So we like ran up on the guy. I'm like, "Dude, what's up?" He's like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "What are you doing here? Like you're trespassing." It was an older guy. I was like, "You're trespassing." He's like, "Oh, well, I've hunted here for 50 years." I was like, "Yeah, I fully understand, but um, I like I know the owners. It was owned. I know the owner. It was hunted by his grandfather. Like nobody should be here. Not only that, like I don't want you here." He's like, he just started to give me a hard time. He's like, "Well, you're not from around here. You can't tell me what to do." Blah 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 blah. I'm like, "Look, dude. Like it's not difficult. Like just don't come back. We can do this a couple different ways here." So he kind of drifted off. I said, "Please don't come back." So he left, and then you came and popped a doe.
Hmm.
And then where you shot that doe in a corner of that field, I had a cell cam, and like the next day or a couple days later, it was still snow on the ground, and there was a blood
Yes.
stain.
Yeah, I had a blood stain there.
Yep. And we saw another guy.
And there was a guy just standing
Yep.
over the blood stain, just
Yeah.
looking. And
Yeah.
that's what the picture was. It was just so odd.
Yeah. He
Yeah.
came from that corner stand
Hmm.
where it went down, where I shot that buck. Remember, it ran down that side.
Yeah.
He came from that way and he just kind of stood. He was like standing there. I had like multiple pictures of him just standing looking at the blood.
Yeah.
And it was during, I guess, was it rifle or was it like the next day was
It was
like
during.
flintlock
It was during. It
rifle?
was. It was. Yeah. It was towards the end of rifle.
Yeah. Okay. So then after that, that was kind of it for that year. And then, we did management throughout the every year. We go into the second year, and actually later that same year, real quick. Remember, we had the guy late in Flintlock. He was just walking toward the field through the field.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Hmm.
Um, we had that guy as well, and that was a completely different guy than the guy that was standing over the blood. So at this point, I'm like, this is like I'm starting to lose count on the amount
Yeah.
of people that's tearing this land up. So we go into the next year, and that year, that spring and summer was pretty good. Didn't have nobody, you know, mess with us. We went all the way through bow season and um, didn't have, much issues as well. Then that's the second year is when I put the fence out and the soybeans.
Yes.
And then that's where it gets uh, spooky. So I don't know another word for it. So I,
Yeah. Spooky.
yeah, spooky. I had cell cams out. All right. I'm at work. And all of a sudden, I get this picture of this guy in a trash bag covering his head up. He's wearing this satchel and he's got a hammer, and that's the picture. I might use it as the thumbnail. And he's got a hammer, and he's facing a solar panel that I had powering up a dual perimeter electric fencing in some soybeans.
Hmm.
And I
Yep.
think that's the only picture that I got of him. So I actually I think it was like the next day, I was like, I gotta go down there. Like something's up. So so I drove down there. He ended up cutting the electric fence with some scissors or a knife or whatever, busted the solar panel, busted the controller, ripped the wires out, and he stole 9 trail cameras.
Hmm.
How in the world he found 9 cell cams is beyond me.
In the rain.
In the rain. I
He
don't
spent
know.
hours there.
Hours. Yep. So I started going around to where my cameras were. They were just gone. Right. So all of a sudden I go off to the up to the where that little kill plot was off to the side.
Hmm.
I had one camera there and it caught him.
He missed it.
He missed it. And I caught a full video of him, wearing a trash bag. He was carrying a hammer, and like he was like mouth breathing because I posted that trail camera video of him. It got like 100,000 views or something on social media. People were sharing it all over throughout that town, and the neighbors saw it.
Yeah.
They started sharing it, and it went everywhere, all through that town. And then we started going to the restaurant there.
Yeah, the restaurant people, they were asking us, "Hey, have
The
you had any luck finding these
Yeah,
guys?"
the waitresses were asking us, and
Mhm.
we're like, no, we have no idea. But the way he was dressed, it kind of seemed everybody's was thinking the same. It kind of seemed like he dressed like a mailman,
He looked postal.
postal. He was postal, all right. So, um, um, so that didn't really lead anywhere. Never found the guy. Nothing. Never. Don't know
No.
what happened with him. He
Mm-mm.
just disappeared.
No.
About 2 weeks later, I started getting trail camera pictures of the cameras he stole, and it was pictures of the sky.
Yeah, and you know what I think happened? I
Hmm.
think I think through all these videos and the guy probably wasn't up on his technology,
Yeah.
and he probably panicked
Hmm.
once he found out that some of these cameras have GPS in them.
Yep.
And I think he panicked and just ditched them
Oh
somewhere.
yeah, for
And
sure.
he was sending me pictures of like sky and
Hmm.
branches and stuff,
Yeah.
and it was for weeks.
Oh
He
yeah,
was
it was
getting
weeks.
all these spooky pictures
Yeah,
of
it was for
clouds and
weeks
things.
until the batteries died.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was five years ago. I have no idea where they're at. I never found them.
no,
They didn't have GPS in them back then.
no, he ditched them somewhere along the
Oh
road or
oh yeah,
something.
100%. He saw the video of him himself on Facebook or something, got spooked and
He
dumped
got
the
panicked.
cameras.
Yeah, he was panicked.
Yeah. So that was like in the summer when we planted all this. Then we go into the hunting season again, and that year, no issues again. During bow season, had no issues. Didn't see nobody.
Right? Not till
Um,
rifle season when I had
yep.
a run in, and then
You
you had a run in too.
you had a run in.
Well,
Which
when you
one?
s- when I when I was up on the hill and I could hear voices. Remember that?
Well, yeah, yeah.
You're
So
getting to that. Go ahead.
yeah, so your dad wanted to hunt.
Yes.
It was like the evening before we're at camp, and he was like, Mister Mister Wendell, I call him. He was all excited. He wanted to go somewhere, and we were like, well, why don't you just go to the farm with us? So you sat on top of the hill,
Yes.
looking down into that bottom,
Yes.
and me and your dad. I guess it was just easier for him to sit with me in the blind
Hmm.
in the old tower stand. So
Yes.
we hunted the morning, and your dad had his gun out the side, angled out into that kill plot, and he was about to pop a doe. All of a sudden, it looked its head up back behind us, and I told him, I said, "Hold up, might be a big buck or something." So we're sitting there waiting. Next thing you know, I kind of look out the window, and here comes this guy, another guy, and I snapped. I like knocked your dad out the way. He's like, "Oh my," So I like jump out, I climb out the door, and I run over to the guy. And that time I actually recorded it.
Yes.
And it gets interesting. I ended up recording it. I was like, "Come on, man! Like, what's up? Like, why are you here?" He's like, "Oh, I've hunted here for 60 years." I'm like, I don't tired of hearing that. Like, you're not supposed to be here. Like, you need to know where you're at. He's like, "Well, I didn't see no signs over that way." I'm like, "The whole property's posted. You don't need a sign to know it's not your property. Like, just go away." And I said, "Please don't let me catch you back here." So he walks away. I go back to your dad. We hunt the rest of the night. No, nothing.
Yeah.
So, and you actually text me. You were like, "I hear voices."
I was hearing voices because I was above them on another
Yeah,
plane,
yeah.
and
You were back
and
kind of off to
I
the
could
side.
hear I could hear them having their heated discussion down there in the valley,
Yeah.
and I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah. This video is on YouTube. It's got like, I think it's up to like 600,000 views right now. Um. So I posted that. It is on there. You can look it up. Um.
And you got hate mail.
It was like 50-50. 50% of the, I mean, it got like 3,000 comments or something. Like, it
Yeah,
just 50% of it was, "Yeah, good job. Screw that guy. He shouldn't be there."
yeah,
The other 50% was, "Oh, let the old man hunt," or
yeah. Right. Let the old
I'm
man
like,
hunt, or
right,
or or, or you didn't have enough orange on. Remember, because you
yeah,
didn't you had your orange vest on, but not a hat or
yeah,
something.
because I was in the
People
blind, like,
people were attacking you because you didn't have an orange hat on
yeah, I was in the heat of the moment,
on
inside the
posted
blind,
property too.
right. So, we had that happen, and then we finished out the year into later into rifle season.
Yeah, it was
Then,
the dose. Yeah, we was after
yes,
those that point.
then we got the pictures of the guy and his kid with buckets.
Mm,
Explain that one.
right? Yeah, I don't know what was going on there. I don't know if they was trying to bait or if
Hmm.
they was trying to
Yeah.
get you in trouble by dumping
All right.
bait or something.
Because didn't
But
me and you go look for it?
we did. We was looking
Yeah,
for buckets
right.
because you got pictures of them carrying buckets in and no buckets out.
No
So
buckets out.
something happened. But you forgot to mention that I had that run in when I after I shot those does.
Shot.
Remember, remember,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
remember
Yes.
when I came.
Yeah.
I came. You guys were
Me and TJ were in the blind.
TJ were you and TJ were in the blind,
Hmm.
and you had seen a nice buck, but he didn't get a shot. It was just a
Yes. Yep.
glimpse of this buck. And we met up, I think, at lunchtime, and I had already shot one doe at that point. I think because I shot
Yep.
two that day.
Poop shoot.
Yeah, poop and shoot.
You had a brown moment.
I had brown moments. Yep, I had moments in the morning where I had to go and
Yeah.
shoot a deer, and then I had to go again, and then I shot another deer. I
Poop
don't know
shoot.
what I
Poop shoot.
ate, but we was poop shooting. But what I was getting at was when I had gone down there the second time, and I had heard a neighboring piece of property.
Hmm.
These guys, it sounded like they pulled up and was going to do a drive or something,
Right.
and this dude rode his four wheeler like was riding towards me, and I heard the bike shut off, and then I seen this guy walking across the ridge, and he come down and he was working his way like zigzagging, like bird dogging down toward me,
Hmm.
and like I stood up and took a couple steps towards him, excuse me, to show him that I was there, and when he locked eyes on me, he just stopped and froze, and I just threw my arms up like, "What are you doing?"
Hmm.
And that's when he turned around and he went back just as quick as he came.
Yep.
And really, he wasn't like near the line. He was well within the lease,
Yeah.
well within, and he
Oh yeah.
knew it. And they were just they were there. They were going to drive deer out off the property
Hmm.
to their people that were
Yep.
down in the valley waiting. And he didn't have a gun or nothing. Didn't even have what do he have on? He had an orange vest on.
Oh, he was driving for sure if he didn't have a
Yeah.
weapon.
Oh yeah. No weapon. But
Yeah.
when he seen me, he turned around and went back the way he came, and I heard the bike fire up, and he went down into the valley, and I heard a bunch of voices down there too.
Hmm.
And then when we met for lunch, I told you about it, and yeah, we made another game plan from there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy with that place. So we finished out that year, and I finally had enough, and I told you I was like, look, dude, I'm gonna go to the police. I need to file a police report with all this crap, and I want to figure out. I wanted to get that guy, the trash bag thief, so bad
Right.
because I never like he burned me up. So I asked you to go with me there. So we ended up filing a police report, and I was working back and forth with him. They needed a little bit more info and some different pictures, trail camera pictures. Long story short, they found out who it was. They
Hmm.
found the guy and his kid with the buckets,
Yep.
and they found the trash bag thief.
Hmm.
And the cop was very helpful. He physically went to their house,
Yep.
told them, "We have you on camera. This guy is pressing charges on you. You're not welcome there. Don't come back. Just letting you know what's up." So he called me, told me what he did. I said, "Okay, appreciate it. Thank you." And it went from there. Um, and then we had the kid that member. He messaged me.
The anonymous messages. Yeah.
Yep, the anonymous messages saying, "Hey, I know this guy's name."
Yep.
He gave me the guy's name, the trash bag thief. We looked it up online, and that's what we were able to
It was
present to the
to the.
officer.
It was definitely
Yes.
incriminating evidence on his Facebook pages and
Yeah.
social medias and stuff.
Yep.
And Dave referred to earlier in the podcast the watch, the glasses, and the
Mhm.
satchel.
Yep. Same thing.
We was able to go back through all the pictures
Mhm.
and this guy's social media, and he hunts with the same exact equipment
Yep.
all the time.
Yep.
The same gun, the same satchel, the wristwatch,
Mhm.
the glasses. I mean, the stuff was just repeatable, repeatable,
Yeah.
repeatable.
Yep. Well,
And we
that
could,
guy
and the cop
was.
was like, "Phew, it's definitely him."
Oh yeah. Well, long story short, with that one, that with that guy, he had a history of violence.
Mm,
I think he beat his father or something, and he was like a
yeah,
pastor or something.
one of his parents. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think the mother was a pastor
Right.
or something.
And he ended
And
up beating his father something.
yeah, one of his parents he beat up or
Yeah.
something.
Yep. And then the two guys with um
Buckets.
the buckets, they actually were
That was a
the
father
officer
and son.
is a father and son, and the officer told me when he told him about this, they actually got smart with him.
Yeah, they wanted to know where was the cameras at.
Yeah, where was the
Remember that?
camera? Like, yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
remember. Yep,
prove it. Where was the camera at?
right. And then once he told them and showed, like, they calmed down. He said, but um, that was taken care of. Never saw those guys again, and
Never found their buckets though either.
no, never found their buckets. But with all that, all these guys were somehow linked together through family. Because remember, I don't want to name the
It was
person.
anonymous, yeah.
It was an but it was all linked together, and I think it was somebody trying to get somebody in the family, like
Yeah.
ratting them out, and
Yep.
it was all intertwined.
Because the dude was a rat. He was
Yes.
sneaking around on everybody's property,
Hmm.
and theirs included, and they didn't like it.
Yeah. So, excuse me.
So
So they
to get rid of him,
hmm
they was like, "Hey, here's a tip. Just don't tell anybody about me."
yeah,
And we
definitely.
didn't.
No, never.
Never
You're
have, never will.
you're the only one that knows.
Yep. Me and Dave know who the guys are, and they did us a great service, and that helped us link it all together.
Hmm.
Couple anonymous tips is all it takes.
Oh yeah.
I mean, your deeds will get you in trouble. You
Hmm.
know.
Well, there's a plus. I guess there's a plus and minus to that with what I do and you do or whatever with videos on YouTube because people found that property. I
Mm-hmm.
posted a lot of videos about that property and people found it. That
Mm-hmm.
neighbor, the kid, he
Yeah.
found it through my YouTube videos. He's like, "Oh, you're my neighbor. You're hunting. Have you seen this buck?" I'm like,
Yeah.
"Dude, how'd you like? You know what I mean?"
Yep.
But those videos helped find that guy.
Right.
So there's a plus and minus to it. That's why, like on my new property, I don't post a whole lot of videos because I don't want to deal with with that again because I already had issues there last year.
Right.
So with the trespasser that I recorded and put it on YouTube with your dad, about a year later, I got a email from a TV show called Neighborhood Wars, and they were they were like, "Hey, we want to use your video."
You're famous.
Famous. So they sent out a film crew and everything, or uh, all these lights and a video camera, and it was a virtual interview.
Hmm.
Basically, I had to set it up in my house, and I was talking to somebody. I couldn't see nobody, but I was talking to a person through this uh, camera,
Hmm.
and I basically did the interview. And then they posted it on season 2, episode 12 of Neighborhood Wars, where me and your dad are on there. Um, so that was pretty cool with that.
Right.
Now, that was that property.
Yeah.
Somebody,
We said all that to say this. Go ahead.
yeah, it was. I just wanted to share that because, like, when you lease a land or lease a property, you never know what you're getting involved with.
Oh man, the
It
luggage comes with it, huh?
Yeah, the baggage comes. It's
Mm.
so risky. But I mean, there's, I've hunted multiple properties and I've never had an issue as much as this property.
Yeah.
It was so annoying because of the amount of work and the time and effort and money that I put into that, and the work that you did. Um, it was
You,
so annoying.
you feel violated though,
You do. You
because
feel.
I mean, we for 3 years we put so much time in
Mhm.
I mean, almost every weekend during the summer.
Yeah.
I mean, you about wore your truck out getting here.
Mhm.
you know, I mean, we just spent a lot of time there,
Yeah.
and you know, if we didn't have any field work to do, we would go figure out something to do in the woods so we had content we was making. And
Mhm.
I mean, it was just a lot of time invested. And
Mhm.
someone comes in like that, it was like, hey,
Mhm.
stay out
Well,
of
I knew the property had potential. There was deer in the area, and I wanted. Yeah, that was right when I started my YouTube channel. I mean, I was
Mhm.
planting food plots for years, but never videoed nothing, and I wanted to show through YouTube, like, hey, it's not that hard. It's easy to plant food plots. This is how you improve the soil, and it's not rocket science. I showed all that,
Mhm.
and it was a lot of time and effort, and the reward was us sitting in the tree stand seeing 30 deer,
Yeah,
every
it,
afternoon.
it was nuts.
Um, but with all of that said, I get questions from people all the time, like, "Oh, I got this trespasser. It's annoying." But dude, the only way you can put signs up, you can you can use purple paint,
Yeah,
you can, do whatever, you can do all that. But I tell you what, it stopped when I filed that police
the
report.
word has to get out that you're
Yes.
not going to take the bull crap.
Yes.
So
It,
somebody has to become a victim.
yes, they do. Unfortunately.
Yes, I mean, they're doing the crime. They need to not necessarily do the time, but
Yeah.
you have to go after somebody and make an example out of them. Period.
hmm Even if you don't necessarily press charges, but it
Cor-
but you got to think too. All the times I called the police that came out to the property, they didn't do
Yeah.
nothing.
No.
You have to find an officer that's willing to help you, like the
Yes.
officer that me and you had at the station there.
He was all about it too.
He was all over it.
He was
100
about it.
100%. He was
He
all
was
over it.
all in. He
Yep.
was like, "Let's get this guy."
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
and
Eh,
they back then, before the purple paint law, uh, the game commission would say call state cop. State
right.
cop would say call the game commission,
hmm
and if you got anybody to show up, that was a bonus.
Yeah.
And then then that one game warden came out that one time and gave you his personal number and said, "Hey, if you have any issues, just call me."
Yeah.
And so he helped along.
Officer Dave, super nice guy. He actually retired now, but he gave
Hmm.
me his personal number, which I don't think he's supposed to do. But
Well,
um, I
w-
called him a few times with some stuff, and um, yeah, I didn't bother. You know what I mean? I wasn't like like annoying him, but you know, he wanted to catch the guy too, but he ended up getting Lyme disease, and
oh,
he got real sick, and
mm,
he ended up retiring. Um, but you gotta make an example. You Like I said, even if you don't press charges, if you find an officer to help you, to just go to find the person and like go to their address and say, "I got you on camera,"
yeah,
just to spook them. You know what I mean?
yep.
But you have to, like you said, you got to make an example of them. You know, signs and that stuff. I mean, it's good to have, obviously. Um, but
Well,
most,
nowadays you don't know what kind of kooks you're dealing with either.
yeah.
I mean, uh, we were there doing stuff at the farm, and I didn't feel comfortable if I wasn't carrying a gun.
I know. Yeah.
I always packed a pistol with me. Every time we went over there, because you just never knew if these idiots were going to retaliate in some way or something.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, who knows in today's society?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, so like I said, it's 50-50. Some people are like, "Oh, I'll hunt where I want," you know. Well, for me, I'm very respectful when it comes to land. Like we didn't step foot off the property.
Yeah, remember that guy accused us of riding our four wheelers on his property?
Yeah. Yeah. This was all the interlinks around that area.
The
That
adjoining
guy,
area.
he actually, that's what I'm saying. He found my video on YouTube and was like, "We got you guys on four wheeler riding on my property." Dude, no, you don't.
Not a
It,
chance.
it wasn't us. Like, I don't know what I
He's
even
like he's like what, a mile down the road. We can't even get
yeah,
there from here.
no.
Yeah.
So yeah. Um, but
They just didn't like anybody infiltrating. Period.
it was a big piece of property. It was 100 acres.
Plus
So
you're
that
an
was
out of plus you're an out of stater. They
I'm
don't
an
like
out of
you.
stater, man. They don't like out of staters. Um, and that's the other thing is
Hunt
like
your own state.
you got PA and Maryland, obviously very close together. I see PA hunters in Maryland all the time.
Hmm.
You know,
And you harass them.
I don't harass them.
You yell out the window, "Hunt your own state."
I give them high fives. I met this.
That's what they
I
did
met
to
a
you.
Yeah, yeah. I was at the red light in Punxsutawney there, and I had the four wheeler with I had my truck with the trailer and four wheeler and the Furminator,
Mm.
and these four guys in a truck, they were like, "Hunt your own effing state." I'm like, dude, come on, man.
You're an outsider.
Um, but like, the public land that I shot that buck last year on,
Hmm.
I met this guy Jacob. He
Hmm.
lives in Pennsylvania. He
Hmm.
drives all the way down to hunt this public land.
Hmm.
Cool dude. I'm not gonna say, dude, hunt your own state. Like, if you want to hunt there, hunt there.
Yeah.
To me, it's not a big deal. But some people take it personal. It's kind of like that sick deer hunting.
Yeah.
The guys that's local right there are very territorial to the sick deer.
Yeah.
And anybody that comes over that Bay Bridge from the other, they're like, dude, we don't want you here.
Hmm.
But I mean, it's public land, so I mean, like,
Yeah.
you can hunt there, but they kind of like give you dirty looks, and
Crazy.
it's weird. So put force in it, make a statement, and I promise you it stops because we had issues on my new property last year. I went right to the police. It led us to the neighbors having interactions and wars back and forth between the neighbors, which caused other issues. And that all came to a stop. But that was all for me having to do the legwork and make phone calls. He made phone calls to neighbors, and we were like, look, like, what's going on here? Um, but it stopped.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you got to kind of, you know,
An
do
example
that.
needs made.
Yeah. So anybody leasing land this year? Because April is leasing month. That's when most leases get leased up. And we wanted to share that story with you. And if you have that problem, I feel bad for you. But if you be careful with it, but put a little force into it, and it will stop.
Yeah.
Take us out of here.
Okay, guys. Well, that was another podcast in the books, number 16, about trespassing.
Yeah.
So if you would, if you could go over and listen on all your favorite platforms, if you want to see the video format, you can come over to my channel and check that out at City Sticker, and do some subscribing to our channels. We have Instagrams and other social media as well. So thanks for listening. We'll catch you on the next podcast. We'll see you then.
Later,
Goodbye.
guys.